Hello and welcome to One United. My name is Paritosh Joshi and I'm here along with Anshuman Joshi and Wali Siddiqui to talk about the West Ham game in the FA Cup fifth round, the Everton disappointment where we drew 3-all and more. We'll talk to Anshuman first about the Everton disappointment, the shock draw we considered in the last minute with arguably the last kick of the game. Anshuman, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, disappointed but not surprised. I mean, when the match ended, I just shut my TV off, threw the remote somewhere, and just went to bed because I just couldn't fathom to think about it for another moment. Like 1 week, you are 9-0 up, and you just want to live that night as long as it lasts, and the other day this happens. So that's Manchester United for you. But then I woke up the next day, and then I again tried to recalibrate my expectations, something that I always keep trying to tell myself and everyone that despite the fact that we lost the 2 points so late in the match, like pretty much the last kick, so it's always going to be frustrating. But this is not something that should surprise us because if you look at throughout the season, these kind of results happen. Like it happens with every single team, and these surface in this kind of matches where sometimes the defense works but the attack is not working. Sometimes the attack is brilliant but the defense leaks out at the very end. This happens all the time. And then the fact that we are so high in the league as it is, none of us saw this coming, right? Last season somehow we ended up third in the league, and the fact that the kind of squad that we have, like we don't have a right winger, we don't have an out and out number six, we have a center defensive pairing that is quite dysfunctional, and our most important defender is Eric Bai is always injured. So when you take that kind of things into account, the fact that we are still second somehow should be at the end of the day quite optimistic for me. I know it doesn't feel like that this way when the way we have ended the last match, but I always keep trying to tell myself that as far as we are going, this is the exact way we are supposed to perform. Like the kind of squad that we have, like our transfer business was still decent, but it was underwhelming because we still need to reinforce in the same positions that we did 6 months ago. And that's not something that happens with teams, right? Like problems and teams change every 6 months. The tactics change, players evolve, the solutions evolve. Liverpool bought new players, City bought new players, Chelsea bought new players. They will change the way they play, the whole shebang. We haven't done anything of the sort, and most importantly, we don't have that. And as long as we don't have that, these kind of results are going to happen. We can sit here and we can individually, forensically analyze them to the death. But the fact of the matter is, over the course of the season, the kind of way we play, the kind of team we have, this is going to happen. So that is it really for me as far as the Everton match is concerned, because that is one of the results is frustrating, but it's expected. We should brace ourselves for more of these matches as the season progresses. I hope it doesn't happen, but it will happen because that's what probability tells us that we are going to stop. No, we are going to come unstuck on one of these matches, and which is why I'm not really thrilled about the idea of silver as well. And yeah, that's about it really. The centre back pairing did undo us, and I think we all agree here that Bai is a better defender as far as preparing him with Harry Maguire goes. They are both too similar to play along. And David De Gea once again is proving why he should be benched for Dean Henderson with every blunder that he makes. So that will be interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, certainly David De Gea is not giving anybody much thought to dwell on with the blunders that he's making. There's a strong argument that Dean Henderson should be our number one goalkeeper. I'll talk to Wally now about the Everton result, then we'll quickly wrap up and move on. Wally, what were your thoughts about the game and how frustrating it is to watch a game till 3:30 at night and then you conceded the last minute in the last kick of the game. Then you have to go to sleep.
Yeah, this is Manchester United in a nutshell. I remember the same scenario last season as well when it was against Southampton. We were winning 2-1 against them, and it was for the top four race. We were playing quite well, and then in the final kick, obviously another set piece, another corner. Southampton scored with the shortest person on the pitch. I can't recall who the player was, but he scored a header, and then it
Obafemi.
was
Ah,
Obafemi, and then it was 2-1,
Obafemi
and
with
then
the
we
left
topped the
back
final.
gone.
Right, right. And over back then also it was our centre backs problem. It was Luke Shaw was being marked by Harry Maguire and Lindelof wasn't marking anyone. So that has been the story of our season right now as well. Because our attackers are doing significantly well. We've scored the most number of goals in the league this season. Manchester City have won 13 games, 13 or 14 games on the bounce.
15,
And
15,
in spite
15.
of, okay, and in spite of that, we have scored the most number of goals. But at the same time, we've also let in the most number of goals when we talk about the top 10 teams. So you're not you just can't win the league if your defense is basically you're playing against yourself as well as the opposition right now, because you go on to score four. If you can't, if you score 3 goals at Old Trafford, you're expected to win over here. You can't just wait for basically scoring 5 or 6, and only then you'll be facing the cushion. You'll be on the comfortable side of things. So it's quite disappointing, and something needs to change, man. Because I am seriously not comfortable with Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof as the centre back, and Eric Bailly, he's our best centre back, but he remains injured all the time. Axel Tuanzebe isn't getting his game time, but even when he does, he isn't looking convincing. He always concedes a silly foul at crucial intervals. So we definitely need a centre back, or they need to be coached in a manner in which we don't concede from set pieces. Or and even if you look at the first goal that we conceded against Everton, if you look at it, uh, I think Calvert Lewin had made the run inside the box, and Harry Maguire was trying to chase him. I remember a similar thing happened when Eric Bailly featured against Everton, and when Calvert Lewin was on the run, Eric Bailly chased him with utmost ease and intercepted the ball. But Harry Maguire, at any, he is one of the slowest centre backs that I've ever seen. Man. I'm not being critical. He's good in the air, but that is a fact. And it's you can't basically win the league with the slow centre backs. At the same time, you have no defensive shape, and even the Pogba blow was a big one. He got off after 30 minutes. He was actually controlling the central midfield region. Fred hasn't been looking convincing at all. He's good in interceptions, but his ball distribution and shooting, oh, his shooting is so frustrating, man. He gets in such good areas that if Pogba or Donny
Mhm.
van de Beek got such areas, I think they would score 9 times out of 10. And in spite of that, he's nowhere near close to the goal. So yeah, a lot of disjointed things, but that's Manchester United in a nutshell. We're uh, on cloud nine on certain occasions, but on certain occasions when we're expected to win, we do not show up. So that needs to change.
Yeah, that needs to change. And if we were to challenge for the title, that need to change. But according to most United fans and most of the rival fans, the title challenge for United is done. Number 21, not in 2021. What are your thoughts about it? Wali, you should continue on your point.
Yeah, even though we were top of the league for quite a while, for like 2 weeks, and uh, rightly so, we did celebrate it. We have the right to celebrate it because we knew that this might not be there for a really long time. And once you're top of the league after 7 or 8 years, you can make the most of it. So we did make the most of it, but at no stage did I feel that we are going to maintain that because, like I said, our attack has been quite well. And you look at Bruno Fernandes; he's the second highest goal scorer right now in the league after Mohamed Salah for a midfielder. He's second highest goal scorer. Then you have Edison Cavani, who's now finally getting into the act. He's scoring regularly. You have Marcus Rashford, who's
Arguably, Salah also plays in the midfield.
yeah, so
If
also
you're
plays in
talking,
he plays on the wide regions. Basically,
yeah,
he starts from the right.
midfield only, no? You're talking about as
No,
a
no, no.
midfielder.
Salah is not a midfielder. He's a
Yeah,
right
yeah.
forward.
In the Premier League, he's listed as midfielder, right
Yeah,
midfielder,
yeah,
RMM.
that we get,
That is a
but for
Premier League. That it is not the most reliable part, but they just get by. It's not the most
but
reliable.
the thing is that Bruno Fernandes, you could see him deep as well as at the number 10 region, and as a second striker, he always starts the press along with Cavani. He puts the pressure on the opponent. So yeah, you have to feel bad for him. He scored a scintillating Cantona-esque goal against Everton, and in spite of that, we were not able to get the win. And yeah, that has been the problem, man. You can't just rely on individual brilliance. Right now, we're just relying on individual brilliance. Sometimes it's Paul Pogba getting us a crucial goal. Sometimes it's Eric Bailly with a crucial block. Sometimes it's Bruno Fernandes. It's Rashford. It's Cavani. We aren't functioning as a group right now. So once
Yeah.
we start doing that, we can challenge. But right now, even if we get back on the league, on top of the league somehow, I don't think we can maintain it. I'm actually quite glad now we are the chasers. We're better as chasers than being on top of the pile, because that's what we did
Yeah,
last season. So let's just see how it happens. What
we are
happens?
better off the underdogs than
Yeah,
being
that's what I
the.
prefer.
Uh, it's better. Yeah. Let's just move forward because there is the FA Cup tie, and we'll have to start talking about it. And we'll talk about the game. We have West Ham at 9th of February, 1 a.m. IST. And I'll just quickly ask Anshuman to give his thoughts about the game and what he thinks is going to be the setup for United.
Well, the biggest threat that United should worry about is Thomas Tuchel because he's back. His red
Yeah.
card was obviously rescinded, so he will be available to play tomorrow. And on paper, as far as the two squads are concerned, once again, this is a match that we should be winning, but it's not going to be easy because West Ham have good players, the good players that are playing well, because David Moyes is finally able to resuscitate his situation, his reputation. So, good for him. I'm very happy that he has been able to do that. I think our Manchester United tenure really, not only destroyed his reputation, but also destroyed his confidence. And it has taken him a long time to recover from that. He's finally doing that. Good for him. So coming back to their team, I think they have a lot of good players, very little injuries right now. Aaron Cresswell is a good set piece taker. I think in both Vladimir Kufal and Ryan Fredericks, they have decent right backs. And Angelo
Fornals.
Bonna and for Pablo Fornals, I don't know if he's injured or not, but I think from the left hand side, he's a brilliant, he's a nice operator. He's playing well.
Antonio is
Their
there
defense
as
is
well.
nice. They have Dawson, Balbuena, Ogbonna. A good thing Lingard is not going to play. Antonio is going to be a problem up front, and Declan Rice and Suchek are, as we know, are going to be defensive problems for us. And so, yeah, a lot of good things to note on their part. And how should we be lining up? I don't think in our lineup there was not much of a problem. I would again posit that as far as the centre back pairing is go, as long as Bai is available, Bai should start alongside Maguire. Because even if we were to say that centre backs Harry Maguire and Lindelof are individually good defenders, they are very similar in their game. They implicitly like to drift forward in their attack, and that is not something a manager can take away from them. That is not something a manager can teach you. This is just how you are. And when Maguire likes to drift away in one of his attacking adventures, Lindelof, instead of marking him, instead of taking care of him, he looks to do the very same thing. He also tries to drift forward. He also tries to look for an opportunity where he can join the attack as well, which creates a problem. Look, when you put these two out 10 matches, 8 matches they're going to win. 8 matches they're going to be absolutely impervious. And 2 matches are going to be the ones that we saw Everton last night. So it's going to happen. When you play 38 matches season and when we say slip up, mediocre performances, these are those mediocre performances. And which is why I think the centre back pairing is always going to be a problem. So as long if we have Bai available, I'm not sure how far is he in his recovery. If he is available, he should be starting. That is the end of discussion. I think as far as our fullbacks go, everyone is fine. The biggest positive that I wanted to say about after Everton match, I know there are very little positive, but I was really impressed by Aaron Wan-Bissaka's timing with his crosses. Because what he usually does, he usually tries to do at Valencia. He'll just take it to the far most corner, think of a step over, eventually fail because he will not be able to, and just pass backwards or or maybe even give a free kick. So this time I thought that he was taking his crosses very untimely. The crosses were quite more accurate. I think he is getting even more and more confident with his dribbling. I think a few matches ago he was dribbling and he looked like a headless chicken. Now he's a lot more confident, and I think this is something that reflects back on how much they have been working on it on the training ground. Because Luke Shaw is somehow is out of nowhere has emerged as an attacking option. So has Wan-Bissaka. So I think that should be one of our options once again. So I think as far as our lineups go, I don't think it should be any different than the Everton one. We did play well. It was our responsibility. It was our fault that Everton were able to get back into the match. It's not something that's going to happen day in, day out. It'll be frequent, but not day in, day out. So, yeah, I think I wouldn't change much as far as that lineup is concerned. I think if Bai is available, Bai takes Lindelof's place. And as far as Dean or De Gea goes, I think we should give at least one tournament to Dean Henderson. I don't know how far we go. Let it be FA Cup or the Europa League. We have Europa as well upcoming, and we should not give him the Romero treatment, right? Like just let Romero do the stay between the sticks till the semi-finals, and then at the end of the day, just give it to De Gea. No, not that. De Gea has been making blunders. With when the season started, we kept saying that if she makes blunders, Dean takes his place. That's the end of discussion. Once again, De Gea has been making his blunders, and now we should give. If we don't straight away replace him in the Premier League, let him have at least a tournament. Put Dean for goalkeeper unequivocally for as long as we have in the Europa League or the FA Cup. That is all his decision. Let him perform. Let he also needs his opportunities. Let him prove that yes, he is ready to take over De Gea. So that will be, I think, I don't think we'll straight away replace De Gea in the Premier League, but I would like to see Dean Henderson perform in another in of our other tournaments. That is as we should go. I think as far as we don't fuck up on our own part, we should be good enough in beating West Ham.
You're on mute.
My bad, sorry. And according to Anshuman, if we don't mess up, we should be good enough to beat West Ham. Wally, what are your thoughts about this take? And you can also talk about the David De Gea and Dean Henderson situation.
Well, yes, David De Gea, now it's been more than, I think, 18 or 19 months since he's been shaky. And even though you could argue that this season he has revived his form, but if you look at the last game followed by the Sheffield one, even though that was a foul, he's never been that commanding goalkeeper. He needs to be one of those. You remember when we had Schmeichel, Van der Sar, or you could consider the likes of Buffon, Manuel Neuer. You have to be a little vocal if you're a goalkeeper. And David De Gea, he's not one of those individuals right now, and it shows in his performances in recent times. He's a great athletic goalkeeper, but and he's also one of my favorite players. He's saved us on countless occasions, but at the same time, he's cost us many points. He's cost us several points over the last 18 or 19 months. And it's happened ever since the World Cup when Cristiano Ronaldo got the better of him when he scored the free kick, when he scored the free kick and the two tap-ins. So it's been disappointing on David De Gea's behalf, and I think he should be given a break over here, especially for the cup games, be it the Europa League, be it the FA Cup. And Dean Henderson, I think uh, he's not, even though I think Sergio Romero was a really good keeper. I thought he would have been the perfect backup for De Gea, but Dean Henderson, I think, is a level up, and he did quite significantly well against for Sheffield United last season. I think he needs to be given a game. And David De Gea, he needs to be coached somehow. He needs to be more commanding, and that is something which he needs to do. Even when the corner comes in, we are not confident enough that he'll handle it. There are goalkeepers out there who punch the ball directly or win the foul. He hasn't been like that ever. He's been a great shot stopper, but other than that, he hasn't been a great distributor of the ball, and he's not looked so confident while clearing the ball with the punches. I think Henderson can offer that. And since football has evolved, since your distribution needs to be good, I think Henderson could provide that. But me being a fan of David De Gea, I hope he gets back to his best. But yeah, he's cost us many points. And the West Ham game, talking about the West Ham game, it's going to be a tough one. If you remember when we traveled away from home to face them, our first half against them was the worst. That worst first half of this season. Oh, we had no control of the game. Somehow West Ham didn't score more than one goal. I don't know how. And in spite of that, we just had a patch of 15 minutes and we had banged in three goals, and no one saw that coming. So yeah, we need to be on our toes. West Ham are a quality team, like Anshuman said, they have quality individuals, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yes, I think there needs to be squad rotation as well. Alex Telles might be given a game, and Donny van de Beek might be even more important. We'll talk about that. And yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens according to Wali in the West Ham game. We'll have the predictions in a while, but we'll quickly touch upon two topics: defensive instabilities first, and then the ambitions that should be in place. First, we'll talk about defensive instabilities, and we'll talk to Anshuman about it. Just quickly brush upon these two topics for anybody who's listening to us. Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the defensive situation? We have already talked about how Bai is our number one centre back, and it's only unfortunate that he's injured. Uh, there is a certain Sergio Ramos that is looming around Old Trafford, and the situation regarding him should be interesting coming next summer. But for that particular time, what should be the options that Manchester United go with?
Well, that is quite a predicament, right? But because look, centre back should be one of our biggest priorities when the transfer window arrives. But the reality is that we have 5 months in between that, and we need to salvage this season. We cannot just relinquish the whole thing. Say, okay, fine, we don't have the players, we'll not do anything. Can't happen like that. I think between Lindelof and Axel Tuanzebe, I like Tuanzebe more. I will always hark back to the performance he gave against PSG, where he was quick. I mean, you have to be quick to keep Neymar and Mbappe in your pocket, and that is something that I really think that we need against Maguire. Because, like I just said, we need someone who takes care of Maguire's weaknesses instead of establishing their own strength. That is something we need right now. Look, Bai is our most important defender because he complements Maguire. But Maguire, as far as I'm concerned, he's our best defender. Now, it's not his fault that he's 80 million. It is an 80 million defender. It's not his fault that he's the slowest one around. He is who he is. We are the ones to ascribe that value to him, and so he's not going to go away anytime soon. We need to make sure that he stays in the team. He's usually consistent when he plays, but when he makes those runs and when you link up with someone like Maguire, you need someone who's pacey and you need someone who's inherently good with that defensive part. When Maguire is ready to move ahead, you need to make sure that you have a defender that's ready to bounce back. Not someone like Lindelof who's first of all looking to make an attacking run himself and then think about making a run back when Maguire has an issue with his positioning, because that is always going to result in a defeat every once in a while. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I think Tuanzebe should be given the priority every time Bai arrives. Bai should be given the priority, and those two are our biggest options right now. I would have said Tedder Mengi, but he has been loaned out to Derby County this time around, so we'll see what happens with him next season. So Tuanzebe and Bai are our most important defenders. And as far apart from Lindelof, I think Lindelof should be played interchangeably with Harry Maguire. That is what it is for right now. I think Sergio Ramos is a discussion we should have another time, if it is even material.
Yeah, because there was some serious transfer news about him that his agent is coming to Manchester. We'll have to talk about it later on, I believe. And I'll talk to Wali now about the defensive instabilities and what should be the solution for United.
If you take the example of Manchester City last season, even though they came second, but they struggled to compete against Liverpool. The reason for that was because defensively
Laporte,
they were clueless. Laporte was
Laporte,
injured most of the time,
yeah.
and just like
John
we
Stones
are
was out. John Stones was
John
out of
Stones
form.
was there, but just like we're
Out of
slagging off
form. He
Harry
was,
Maguire, yeah, just
yeah,
like we're
yeah.
slagging off Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, people back then were slagging off John Stones of him being that 50 million defender. But you look at him this season with the right partner, he's been quite decent, and that right partner has been Ruben Diaz. And yesterday we heard the broadcasters also mentioned that Virgil van Dijk brought in that positive impact when he came to Liverpool. Similarly, Ruben Diaz has also brought that positive impact back to Manchester City, and he's been 20 million cheaper than Virgil van Dijk. And now, yes, he did give away the penalty, but that was like his only mistake so far in the Premier League. You could say that. And it's it's a matter of one or two players, man. And I just feel that Harry Maguire, like we've seen glimpses of what Maguire can do. I think even we've seen glimpses of what Lindelof can do with Tuanzebe against PSG. He was quite spectacular in that game.
Even with
But you
Bai.
need to no, he was with Tuanzebe in that game against PSG, the first
No,
leg. It was
I'm
Lindelof and
saying even
Tuanzebe.
with Bai. Even
Yeah,
with
even
Bai,
with
he'll
Bai.
be
Yeah,
good.
that
Yeah.
last minute block, like how
Yeah.
important
Yeah,
that block could have been against
Uh,
Everton.
uh,
you see the recovery pace is something which is quite significant. This is something which isn't considered as much in today's day and age, but it is very important because it doesn't look as sexy, as a block or a last minute header or a clearance. But a recovery pace is basically you're avoiding a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper and you're winning the foot race and clearing off the ball. It might sound simple, it might not get yourself that footage might not get yourself on the highlight reel, but it is as significant. And Tuanzebe and Bai have the uh, tools to basically stop any center forward, any quick center forward. So that is what I'm trying to say. Even though might be talking about Sergio Ramos, he has the experience, he has the technical know-how, and I would love to see him in a Manchester United shirt. But practically speaking, I think we are also being linked to Sevilla's Kunde, and he's pretty much a quick centre back, and he does have playmaking ability as well. So I think we might go for fresher prospects, and you never know. We might get a Ruben Diaz. We did hear about him, but we didn't know he was going to turn out to be an absolute star. So it's about finding the right personnel to complement Maguire slash Lindelof, and then we might go places next season. But it's sad that we didn't go for a defender in January.
Okay, we'll brush upon the final one topic that we have, and then we'll talk about the starting 11, the prediction for the West Ham game. Should Manchester United be going all out in the cup, or should they go 50-50 with the league and the Europa League? Should they be only gunning for FA Cup and Europa League, or there should be some kind of focus for the title challenge? I'll talk to Wali first. Wali, what do you think about the whole situation regarding the club cup competitions?
Well, since I don't think we are going to win the league this season, but I honestly, me personally, I want us to win something because it's been now it'll be our fourth year without a trophy, and that's far too long for Manchester United to go trophyless. So be it an FA Cup, be it an Europa League, I just hope we win something, and that would also be significant in terms of gaining confidence in the league as well. If not this season, then next season, and it could that's sense of belief would be back. Even though Jose Mourinho did win you two trophies, the we all knew how toxic Jose Mourinho is with his relationships with the fans at times and the players. But Solskjaer, on the contrary, if he does win something, he has the backing of his players, and that could actually work in his favor. So hopefully, let's just see what happens over here. Squad rotation is important, but at the same time, I just hope that we don't let a lot of players get the break over here. Yes, but I do want to say Donny Van de Beek coming tomorrow. Now that Paul Pogba is injured, you have to give him some game time. Let's just see what happens. And yeah, he might have a big role to play over here. It might be finally his time to shine. And I'm pretty much excited for that. Let's just see what happens. And I just hope, man, I get to see Amad Diallo because I'm quite excited for him. And other than that, we've also let in two more youngsters come in the practice for the senior team. It's Jebri and another player. I forgot his name. To the centre forward. What was the name? I'm not. I forgot his name. He scored a hat trick against Liverpool.
Joe Hugel.
Yeah.
It's someone else, I guess. No. Who scored two goals
Hugel.
against Blackburn? Against Blackburn.
Arey,
Hannibal
the
Mephi.
one, no, Hannibal. Also, the Hannibal had a great combination with Ahmad and another guy who is this, who
Who
is
scored a
a
header?
striker,
Yeah.
who is the
Yeah.
striker, I think. Uh, short
Short eye. He's
Hmm.
also basically
Shola
training
short
with
Shola.
ire,
the senior team. So yeah, we have
He
some
just signed
exciting
a senior
youngsters.
contract.
Shola short ire.
Hmm.
So yeah, even though I want these the youngsters to be there in the senior team, but I
He's
also
a
want us to win
17-year-old dude.
the cup. So yeah, man, let's just win the FA Cup, finish second or third, and, and I think I would accept this as a decent, good season. And let's just see what happens.
Let's just see what happens according to Wali. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Anshuman, I'll talk to you about going all out in the cup competitions, and what do you think about that particular argument?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, our first and foremost priority should be to remain in top four by the time the season ends. I know that it's not the most popular opinion. I know that this is not something every fan of every football club wants, that we want a trophy this season, want trophy this season. But I am of the understanding that it's not that easier than said. Like you look at the like so Barca and Juventus fans, and for them, if they don't win the Champions League, then they could just as well win the domestic treble. But everything else is a failure. Same thing happens with City. So I think when I look at our squad, our shortcomings, and the teams we're going to face in the league, in the competitions, even in the Europe and the FA Cup, I will not be shocked or disappointed even if we if we get knocked out from both of the tournaments. I don't really think that we have the squad to be able to do that. And again, once again, like we said with the league, if we win anything, that's amazing, and that is something that we need, because the way people deal with a season, how we deem a season successful or unsuccessful, has become very volatile now. It is
Guys, I'm
cutthroat
gonna jump out.
everywhere.
You guys
If
carry
you
on, alright?
okay, if you don't
Okay,
win,
Wally,
every
it's you.
manager gets the sack. So this is something that just happens. But I'm not of the understanding, as far as my expectations are concerned. With our first and foremost priority to end up top four, to have back to back Champions League this seasons, because we haven't had that since Sir Alex. So our league is our biggest priority. Coming back to the cup competitions, I think it's important for more ways than one. It's not just about the fans; it's about the managers. It's about the players that are playing under the manager. And so far, Oli has simply said out that we should not even be considered title challengers. That is fine to say to the press, but it's more crucial than what the players believe in you. I think the most crucial point here that I would like to point out is Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw have recently come out and talked all about, we should, after the Sheffield defeat, after the Everton draw, came out and said that this is not us. We should be playing better. We should be doing this, and the fans have lapped it up. They are like, this is amazing. What a mentality! What everything. Look, on the face of it, it's a brilliant statement to make that, oh, this is not good enough. We should be performing better. But in the long run, if they start feeling like they are better than whatever this team can reach, then we have another problem on our hands. It's not
Yeah,
just about Oli and what Oli can do. It's more about what Bruno and what Luke Shaw will be thinking, that maybe maybe their career lies somewhere else. I mean, Bruno's contract extension has been start. The talks for his contract extension started in November, and he has stalled that. He's come out and said that I'm waiting for the season to end to see where we go from here, which is a very, on the face of it, a very mature thing to say. But then it also makes you worry that if you don't win anything, that where does the team go from here? Because that is the one player that turned our season around. And if we start thinking that maybe there's a bigger club somewhere else, that becomes our problem. So I think we need to go farther into our competitions just for that, just so that the important players, can believe that there is something to be gained here. Like if we stay for another season, we can reach somewhere. So I think that also comes back,
I
Laddu, to my
think
point that.
Anshul, I
Mhm,
think the point you're making is absolutely true that good players or the top players, they need to be in the top competitions in the final few phases. But
mhm,
my argument to that would be that we already had semi-final opportunities last season. Bruno
true.
Fernandes has already played in the semi-finals. Luke Shaw has already played in those semi-finals, and these guys, if they don't win any silverware this season, they would be seriously
Mhm,
questioning their future with United. So my argument
mhm,
was always that if we should be winning at least one silverware, and that's why I believe that cup competition should be a top focus for United.
mhm. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I still think that this is going to be. I think February we should breeze through anyway. As far as our
Yeah,
matches are concerned, look, tomorrow we are facing West Ham. It on paper we should be winning that. If we don't, that will be a problem. And we are facing
yeah.
Real Sociedad. They are not as good as they were 2 3 months ago. We should be winning that tie as well. This month is
West
crucial for
Brom
us in the
first.
league.
West Brom. We have West Brom on 14th.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was talking about the club match, the competitions that we are going to have to face
Yeah,
this month in general. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think these are the matches that we should be expected to be beaten by anyway. Like if you reach to the semi-final, that City beats you, then the narrative just becomes that it's yet another semi-final defeat. But that is a team that you can take a beating against, right? The matches that we're going to have this month, we should be winning them anyway. Our focus
The
at the end
toughest
of the
game,
day should
the
be
toughest game, the toughest game is Chelsea. I think by the end of the month we
this
face
month.
Chelsea,
Yes,
and
this month
yeah,
it is Chelsea.
yeah. So
Hmm.
the this yeah, yeah, I completely agree with the argument that we should be winning these games, but that is for the Everton game as well. But we drew that. So that is Manchester United for you. We'll just wrap up the final thing, and because Wali is not here, we'll just you and me will talk about the starting 11 and the predictions for the game, and then when
Hmm.
we'll close the show. Uh,
Hmm.
I think we'll start with the starting 11. Anshuman, give us your starting 11 for the West Ham game, and then give us your
Hmm.
prediction for the game.
Well, I don't think that, like I said, don't think it's going to be a lot of changes. But personally, I would like to see Van de Beek because once again, the West Ham are going to deploy a low block. He's the kind of player that plays well in the low block. Pogba is now out, so if you're Van de Beek, you should be looking at these situations and thinking now is the time to do that. Now is the time to get chances because Pogba is most probably going to leave in the summer anyway. So you need to prove yourself that you can play in the starting 11. And when he was signed, we all discussed how he can play multiple positions, academy graduate. I think he should be starting. Otherwise, I'm not really that problem. I don't have any other issues with the team that started against Everton. I think we were in cruise control and we were the ones who gave it away. So I don't know what the situation Bai is. I think Bai was close to a recovery. If he's returning, then he should be taking care of Lindelof. It will be taking Lindelof place. Otherwise, I would like to see Van de Beek start. Otherwise, rest of the team is quite fine as far as I'm concerned. And as far as the predictions
Uh,
go, I think it will be a 3-1. I think we are more than good enough to score 3 goals, but I think Thomas Tuchel will head one in.
okay, so a 3-1,
Hmm.
a 3-1, similar to what I predicted against Everton, 3-1, 3-2, but we drew. So it's 3-1 for Anshuman, and I think Wali also must have predicted a win against West Ham. For me, the starting 11 probably remains unchanged, most of it. But the Pogba situation, we have to play Van de Beek, and I think Anthony Martial should again be on the bench with Greenwood, Rashford, and Cavani coming in. And if we score early, then Martial should be coming in the second half. I think as soon as he possibly can. So and the prediction for me, I don't think West Ham are an easy side to beat. People are undermining them. David
They
Moyes
aren't. They
finally has
aren't.
a
They
project,
aren't.
and I believe it's going to be 2-1. It's going to be close. It's not going to be a walk in the park for United. Uh, but United should get through this team. They are not an easy side to beat, but the current United side should be beating them. If we can go 9-0 against Southampton, we should be beating West Ham in the FA Cup game, especially at home. So that's it from our side at One United. I don't think we have any final thoughts. Any final thoughts, Anshuman?
No, that's about it, really. I really hope that we start playing more consistently. That's
That's every United fan. Well, we hope that we play consistent football, but we really don't. That's been 8 to 9 years, and that's been the story of Manchester United for a long while. We hope that we can finally win a silverware, whether it's going to be a cup or it's going to be the league, the 21. Well, one can only hope. It's a goodbye from us at One United. See you again really soon.